Would you rather be driving a brand new Nissan, equipped with all the latest technology and safety features? Hey, Aaron Walker here from Naples Nissan. If your trade-in is a 2012 or newer, yes, a 2012 or newer, with less than 120,000 miles on it, we'll give you the original base MSRP for it so you can drive home in a brand new Nissan. Bring us that old Chevy, Honda, Toyota, Ford. We don't care where you bought it from. We don't care if you bought it new or used. Go to NaplesNissan.com. Pick out your favorite new Nissan model with Bluetooth, backup camera, and that new car smell. You can have it all today after we pay you what you paid for your trade-in. Don't wait. Get full details at NaplesNissan.com. Offers on select models with approved credit and cannot be combined.
People say they don't like going to the dentist, but what they mean is they don't like the discomfort. Dr. Alan Rembos at SmilesByRembos.com understands. Dr. Rembos uses computerized anesthetic delivery, resulting in 50% fewer injections. And Dr. Rembos places and restores implants, eliminating delays, additional costs, and no running around. New patients and emergencies usually seen within 24 hours. Cosmetic treatment often completed in 1 to 2 weeks. Read the reviews at SmilesByRembos.com. Offices in Marco, Naples, Sanibel, and Fort Myers.
Smart homeowners know that proper maintenance of their home's AC can save a bundle in the long run. Trust our comfort specialists at 1 Hour Air Conditioning and Heating to keep your AC running strong. A proactive tune-up can actually help your AC run more efficiently and save you money on your electric bill. Call 855-1-HOUR or visit onehourair.com.
Always on time or you don't pay a dime. Always on time or you don't pay a dime.
Independently owned and operated, licensed in their respective state or county.
This is The Drive with Trey Rader.
.504 here on 92.5 Fox News. Trey Radel, your host of The Drive. You know what a silver alert is? Seen that?
Uh-huh.
Tell the audience what a silver alert is.
I would be an alert sent out by law enforcement for an endangered adult that's missing.
Typically a senior citizen.
Usually, yeah.
Who perhaps could be affected with something like Alzheimer's, dementia, the onset of, and it is nothing to joke about. But here is President Silver Alert trying to remember the name of the Pentagon and, the Secretary of Defense that works for him.
Just want to thank you both, and I want to thank the former general. I keep calling him general, but the guy who runs that outfit over there. I want to make sure we thank the secretary for all he's done to try to implement what we just talked about.
You know, that guy over there at that one place that it kind of looks like, how many? Well, if you can't remember Penta, how are you going to remember 5? I don't know. Things get very difficult. I find it hard to joke about this. My grandma was affected with dementia. Actually happened after a car accident. Grandma was in a car accident, and after that, everything fell apart. Her body, her mind, her mental faculties began to decline. And it was sad to watch. We are talking about the most powerful man in the world, who, by the way, has access to the nuclear codes. That's just one thing. Do you know, if you haven't heard on our program or the news, that just about a week and a half ago, Democrats in both the House and the Senate began working up some form of legislation so that there was more oversight with the nuclear codes. And the way that they kind of tried to intro it was Trump, bad orange man. That's why. Yet, in interviews, Democrats themselves have been openly saying that, Joe Biden is of an advanced age. That's really just kind of code words for there might be something wrong with him. I'm not here to poke fun at dementia or someone who's losing their mental faculties, there is no question that that is happening to Joe Biden. It's been happening to Joe Biden, and not enough questions have been asked. I will say something interesting. On my way in, I was listening to a mix of MSNBC, CNN, and Fox News Channel. In the 4 o'clock hour, it's Neil Cavuto on Fox. It's Jake Tapper over at CNN. I don't even know who MSNBC is. I don't know. It's just some random person that nobody would. I don't know if anybody could name. Like looking at MSNBC actors, it's like looking at, I'm sorry, just actors, maybe. Looking at the anchors there, it's always like looking at one of those actors from that one show that you swear, oh, I know that person. I know that guy. He's the guy that always plays the kind of gangsterish dude. He's Italian. He's got a New York accent. Like the MSNBC anchors are like that actor that you know from somewhere. Oh, there they are on the news. But listening to Neil Cavuto on the way in, he had a Democrat on and asked whether or not he was concerned about Joe Biden's mental faculties. And the Democrat, this just happened like less than an hour ago. The Democrat, I don't even know who it was because I was listening to it, said that Joe Biden has some speech issues and like anyone under pressure, sometimes forget some names here and there. Like that's not something that you need to be explaining. As I've always said in politics, if you're explaining, you're losing. And it applies to the real world as well. You know, if you work at a business right now and that business has some serious troubles and you've got either employees questioning the second in command under the boss, what the hell's wrong with our boss? Why is he or she doing this? What's going on? And second in command has to do a whole lot of explaining. It's a problem. There's something going on. And it's very clear with this administration. Our phone lines are open, 239-479-5592, 239-479-5592. So do you know that Joe Biden has gone longer than any other president in U.S. history to not hold a press conference? He's now at the 40-something day mark, and there is no other president that has not done that has held out that long from giving a press conference. What you're about to hear, we're going to hear a lot from her, Jen Psaki. Jen Psaki is the equivalent of what Kayleigh McEnerney or Sarah Sanders did with the Trump administration. She's a press secretary. And look, even if I understand I'm a conservative, I'm going to see things through a certain light, a certain prism, right? But I really try to remove my partisan hat when I'm judging the kind of job or responses or what I've worked in all my life, the kind of communication that is coming from the press secretary. With Kayleigh McEnerney and Sarah Sanders, you knew exactly what you were getting. And it was, I'm angry, and here's why. Like Sarah Sanders would come firing, no holds barred. If she were asked a certain question, she would have a response that pointed out the hypocrisy of the context of the question, whatever it was. Kayleigh McEnerney did it with a little bit more, kind of a smile here and there, and that lasted like a week. And she just came out and she would just light up reporters if that's what she felt was needed and lay it out how it was. Jen Psaki is caught up in this, I think, like early 2000s, Bill Clinton-esque type press secretary, even Obama, where she thinks that they're all on her side. She's going to win them over. But what she's finding is that the press is actually asking a few tough questions here and there. And I want to get to that as well. Take a listen, though, to how she answers this. Why won't Joe Biden hold a press conference? Why won't he talk? And what she's referring to here when she says, I don't know, however many times he's answered questions, have been in situations where they have just yanked him out of whatever public event that he was at, which again happened today. Listen to Jen Psaki. Here we go.
A quick follow-up on a different subject. You mentioned last week that the president is expected to give a formal press briefing.
Press conference, yep.
Yes, before the end of the month.
Mhm.
So that is a commitment. Before in the next few weeks, we will see him and take questions and follow-ups and so forth.
Yeah, he has done about 40 Q&As since he took office, but in terms of a formal press conference, which I understand there's a big focus on, yes, we will have one before the end of the month.
And what does it mean going forward? Will we see more of president buy-in, specifically?
More than 40 Q&As in the last month?
Wow.
Or
Where he will be submitted to more
Like, come on.
extensive questions, follow-ups, the kind of things we're doing today. Will we see him regularly?
I don't know that you'll see him more than 40 times a month, but I'm happy to ask him that question.
I mean, if that's a dude up there, I'm like, man, you're being a dick. Come on. Can you just give me some answers here? I don't need you to be a smartass about it. And is he going to do more than 40 Q&As? I mean, she just comes across in a bad way.
And if you noticed, none of these Q&As were televised. Have you seen any of these Q&As that they're talking about?
Here's what happens.
I've seen a couple of Q&As where they kicked him out, right?
Here's what happens at the Q&As.
Press, we're gonna move out. Let's go, press. Guys, let's go. Come on, press. Let's go. Come on, let's go. Crisis at the border, sir. Let's go, you guys. Come on. Come on, let's go.
Is there a crisis at the border? This is something that Joe Biden has been doing everything he can to avoid. I even want to note that, let me read this for you, and you can guess what news article it's from. Speaking of the crisis at the border, the number of unaccompanied migrant children in U.S. Border Patrol facilities, which are akin to jail cells and not intended for kids, has reached dramatic heights. That's CNN. So a few things before we take a break here. Is there a crisis at the border? The answer is hell yeah. There absolutely is. We'll talk a little bit about that. I want to wonder something out loud, though, at the risk of you laughing at me, you listening right now, you two looking at me, idiots on Twitch streaming us, free sace, and commenting here and there. These are the weird. I'll tell you what. I love the fact that we have people on this, what many people don't know, Twitch, twitch.tv, which is typically a place where you stream for gamers. I love that we stream on there, and I love that we've got people subscribing to our channel on there. But, man, we get some strange cats. My question is this. Do you think that the press is a little rougher with Biden because they realized how tough they were with Donald Trump? I say that knowing that there have been some really ridiculous softball questions and stupid articles about Dr. Jill Biden and her husband. You might know him. He's the president. And take a look at their living room. What is she wearing? There has been some garbage like that. But you've also seen the press actually doing their job. And they are using words like jail cells for what the Washington Post at least one day, what did they call them?
Cages.
No. They
Enclosures,
were called cages.
yeah.
Enclosures.
Yeah.
To containers. That was it,
Containers,
containers. Luxury containers, though, nonetheless.
Containment units.
Containment units. We even heard the Univision anchor correct Joe Biden when he said facilities. The Univision anchor said, no, shelters. Oh, okay. CNN now calling them jails. Our phone lines are open, 239-479-5592. 239-479-5592. This is The Drive. I'm Trey Radel. Your call's up next, and a little more from Jen Psaki. We'll be right back.
This is 92.5 Fox
Need a
News.
checkup? Call the doctor, the pool doctor.
Hi, Dr. Mark here. Heat pumps take heat out of the air and put it in your pool. They cost less to run than gas heaters, and you won't have panels on your roof. Special pricing, rebates, and free on-site evaluations. We're a family company, and for over 40 years, we've been doing business right.
The prescription is the pool doctor for award-winning pool service, repairs, and unheard of $39 diagnostic calls. That's mypooldoctor.com or 239-574-1133. State certified CPC 057088.
Hey, it's Adam Botana again from Baywater Exclusive Boat Club, the only family-owned and operated boat club in Southwest Florida. And when it comes to members to boat ratio, bottom line, we have the best fleet and availability at any boat club in the area. Fishing, cruising, water sports, Baywater will get you set up. Want to keep the boat overnight? Want to let the kids use the membership? At Baywater, anything is possible. This weekend, we are having our 15th anniversary open house. We'd love for you to come by, have some lunch, and check out the club. And if you join this weekend, special pricing. No dues for 3 months. Right, no dues for 3 months. Stop by and see the Baywater difference. Call me, Adam Botana, at 239-495-0455. That's 495-0455. One more time, that's 495-0455. Or find us online at bwboatclub.com or Google Baywater Boat Club, the exclusive club of Southwest Florida.
Disarm the people. That is the best and most effective way to enslave them. This was the warning of the father of the Constitution and fourth President of the United States, James Madison. I'm Lori Roman, President of the American Constitutional Rights Union, and this is a Live Free Minute. The Founding Fathers put some strong words into the Second Amendment to the Constitution. The right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. After that run-in with the Redcoats, the founders were outspoken in their belief that the right to own firearms to defend oneself, family, and nation was sacred, and the difference between being a subject and a citizen. We ask you to join us in standing up for the Second Amendment, because without the right to protect ourselves, we can't live free. This Live Free Minute is brought to you by the American Constitutional Rights Union, a national nonprofit based in Naples, Florida. If you'd like to learn more about our work, visit livefreeminute.org. livefreeminute.org.
Hey, what do you want to da-da-da? I don't know. What do y'all think we should da-da-da? Well, what did we da yesterday? Yesterday. All the dolls feel like the same doll these days. I know. Like, is today Monday or Tuesday? Today is Thursday. Oh, no, I forgot to call my mom on her birthday. Oh, no. No.
These days, nothing is normal and everything is weird. But you could still save big when you switch to Progressive. That won't change. Not today or any day.
Quote today at Progressive.com.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Trey Radel is on 92.5 Fox News.
5:20 here on 92.5 Fox News. Trey Radel, your host of The Drive. Let's get to a call here. Mark in Lehigh. Hey, Mark, you're on The Drive.
Hey, Trey, how we doing?
All right. What's up, Mark?
Well, Trey, I just, with this cancel culture, you probably haven't heard yet, and I'm tired of hearing you pronounce it incorrectly, but I canceled the silent P on Jen's name. So it's pronounced, and take your pick. It's either Jen Psaki or Jen Psaki. Either one. I don't care.
So,
but I've canceled the silent P.
The silent P is canceled. P shall be pronounced from here on out like Pahone. Who are you calling? I'm using the Pahone to call Jen Psaki. Psaki.
No, it's
Psak.
just her name. Just her P is all I canceled.
All right. There we
just
have
her
it.
silent P. So,
Mark, I appreciate the call. There you have it. Mark in Lehigh just canceled the silent P in Saki. Psak. What up,
I don't think
Psak?
that sounds good either.
Psak. Sure.
Yeah.
What up, Psak? It's like a early 90s hip-hop name. Could be late 80s. I mean, you had like Ice-T, Tupac, Ice Cube,
Vanilla Ice.
Psak. A lot of ice going on.
A lot of ice,
in the late 80s. Vanilla Ice, Ice Cube, Ice-T. What other ices were there? Anyway, let's get back on point here, people. If you're just joining us, we started the show with Joe Biden forgetting what you call the Pentagon and forgetting his Secretary of Defense. You know what? It's so quick, it's worth listening to again. Joe Biden trying to remember two things, Pentagon and Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin. Listen to how he phrases it all. It's hilarious and sad. It really is.
Just want to thank you both, and I want to thank the former general. I keep calling him general, but the guy who runs that outfit over there.
That outfit over there.
I want to make sure we thank the secretary for all he's done to try to implement what we just talked about.
It's sad. It's hilarious.
He could use dude. When you get to the point where you can't remember names anymore, you just start calling everybody dude. I mean, maybe that'll work for him.
You know that dude over there that runs that outfit
that
over there?
Dude over in that building over there.
The one, it's got the sides to it.
It's shapely, yeah.
That he's running that outfit over there. This is Joe Biden, who has not taken press conferences and will not speak to the press and has repeatedly been physically removed from any type of Q&A with reporters. Ian, you were commenting on watching the video, man.
It's bad. Yeah,
he's there like in a daze.
Yeah, I mean, you heard the audio, but you don't see the video. He stands there in a daze for what seems like forever, and he looks this way, and he looks that way, and then he just stalls out. And that's why you can hear, no, over here, come here, come here. They're literally trying to get him to exit the area, and he just stands there.
Yep.
And I think they finally have to go up and usher him off.
And part of the reason that they don't want to speak right now at all to the press is because what is happening at the border. And if you're just joining us, I had just read a line from a cable news network, the one known as CNN, that is now using, I gotta say, words verbatim like they used with Donald Trump. They didn't do it with Obama, right? You need to understand that the same types of facilities that Donald Trump used, Biden and Obama built. They created these cages, kids in cages. By the way, that kids in cages thing became a single issue for many voters in the United States. Like, that was it. Donald Trump is done because he put kids in cages, even though, of course, again, context, history shows us it's what Obama was doing. CNN now using that type of word, saying that the number of unaccompanied migrant children in the U.S. Border Patrol facilities, which are akin to jail cells and not intended for kids, has reached dramatic highs. More than 3,200. That's a huge number. Just visualize that. 3,200 unaccompanied migrant children were in custody. And this is happening. You know, it's no wonder that when you run on open borders, you have a hell of a lot of people that think that you have open borders. And they don't want to talk about it. Take a listen to this again. Jen Psaki, PSAC, who we've been having a little fun with, being asked about is it a crisis?
Well, is this a crisis at the border?
Look, I don't think we need to sit here and put new labels on what we have already conveyed is challenging.
Oh, we don't need labels? Really? I mean, again, just looking at her, attempting to do so from a neutral standpoint on how she's handling her job, why not just call it a crisis? Like, but to shoot the reporter down of, I don't think we need labels. I don't know. To me, she just seems like such a very sort of traditional, old school press secretary that annoyed the absolute hell out of everybody, including the press. And it goes on and on. Listen to now the misinformation and disinformation that the Biden administration is doing. Listen to her dance around Department of Homeland Security putting out numbers of what's going on at the border.
Why won't you confirm that number? That's a very important number.
We've been very clear that there is an increase, that there are more children coming across the border than we have facilities for at this point in time. Those numbers are tracked by the Department of Homeland Security, so I'm just suggesting that you talk to them about specifics.
Well, we talked to them, Jen. They won't confirm the numbers.
Well, I would encourage you to go back to them and ask them again. We're not going to confirm them from the White House. It's not our program. It's the Department of Homeland Security.
Is the White House encouraging the department to release those numbers? And in the spirit of transparency that the Secretary promised announced here at this podium.
We certainly encourage transparency, but what I also think is important is to talk about what the root causes are here and what we're doing from a policy standpoint to try to address the challenges that we're facing and that these kids are facing.
This is insane. Let me just break down everything that just happened there. Okay, first of all, what's going on between the reporter and Jen Psaki is she's saying, you got to contact them. The reporter's saying, but they're saying that that we have to contact you. You know what this is like? This is like dealing with Comcast. This is like dealing with a government entity or any large corporation. This is like dealing with a very large bank where you are told, well, this fee that you got hit with, well, I was told I wasn't going to get hit with these fees. These are massive fees that you're hitting me with. Well, you have to call this department. But no, I've been on the phone with that department for 15 minutes. They told me to come to you. Well, listen, I've got a new number for you. Just call this other number of this other department and someone there will help you. 4 hours later, you have pulled all of your hair out of your head. You have a bruise on your forehead from banging it against your kitchen table because you haven't been able to leave home. You've been pacing back and forth on the phone. And that's what Jen Psaki and the Biden administration is doing to the press today. All they're asking for is, how many children are at this border? How many beds do you have for the children? No answers. Oh, go contact them. Give them a call. If you leave a voicemail, I'm sure that they'll get back to you. This is government at its finest. And then do you hear what she says? First of all, when you add a but on something, it negates the first part of your sentence. And she's like, yeah, look, we're looking for transparency, but we need to address the root causes. It's what I just said. When you campaign on open borders, it is no wonder that you have, in a horrible, desperate, and genuinely sad way, parents who are sending their children north to escape the hellholes that they live in for some sort of open border amnesty in the United States. Or, worse, people who are taking advantage of these people, who are crossing with them, trying to get into the United States. Those who are from Central America that we have treaties with, that all they have to do is arrive to the border. They will no longer wait in Mexico like they did under Donald Trump. They will be accepted as soon as they say the word asylum, and they will be let into the interior of the country. It is no wonder that people think that we've got open borders when the Democrats have been running on open borders. It is a horrifying situation that's happening on the border right now. Yet, you just heard Jen Psaki. This is the main spokesperson for the Biden administration who has fended this off in every way. Like, again, even if the press didn't like the style of a Sarah Sanders or a Kayleigh McEnany, who would go at them and say, you're asking me this question, here's your answer, here's context. Like, this is dancing. And quite frankly, it's every journalist there should be offended. We don't need labels. Would you label it a crisis? No, we don't need labels. Why would you use that? Just stop. Can you give me numbers? They'll give you numbers over there in this governmental department. No, they won't. They told us to contact you. No, you need to contact them. No, we can't. They won't give it. Are you telling them to share their numbers? Well, we want transparency, but it goes on and on and on. Phone line's open. Let's go to Sam in Punta Gorda. Hello, Sam. You're on the drive.
Hey, Trey.
Hey.
I believe what's happening to Biden, and you can kind of see it, but I always have to take a pause because they had the same kind of criticisms of Trump at the same time. And so I always wonder, is this just, we're just going back and forth with the same kind of comments that the left used to put against the right?
I mean, so what my, sorry.
Well, they had psychologists come on and say that Trump was, he wasn't right in the head and that he was having mental issues and so forth. And here we're having the same kind of conversation about Biden. And it just gives me a little bit of pause sometimes. Like, are we? So
let's break that apart. And then I will return to the larger picture of what I was discussing with the treatment of not just Biden, but the Trump administration and Obama administration, which I think is a very important point in this larger conversation. To go to directly what you're saying, though, Sam, of whether or not me specifically here questioning Biden's mental faculties is the same as an actual psychiatrist going on, and this actually happened, an actual psychiatrist who, takes their ethics and vows and whatnot when they go into being a real doctor. That is a hell of a lot different from what I'm doing. I'm here. You know where I stand on the issues. You know what I believe in. I'm transparent on everything, on what I believe, my opinion. And I'll tell you, when I try to remove my partisan hat to assess things, I'll do my best to do that. But an actual psychiatrist doing that breaks all sorts of ethical standards, and that man did that during the Trump administration. These are doctors who are supposed to be sitting down with a patient to assess their mental health, and of course they never did that. These are idiots who are all sycophants for CNN and MSNBC, who just want to be on TV and continue pumping out Democratic talking points during the Trump administration, saying that, yeah, Trump's crazy. They should evoke the 25th. They don't even know what that means. They haven't even sat down with someone they're assessing. So I'm saying that it's very different. We have not seen anything arise to that level. My bigger picture point in all of this, though, Sam, is that I like seeing some members of the press, not just Fox News Channel, be rabid, be firm with this, with the press secretary there, Jen Psaki, because I didn't expect it. I'm glad that it's happening. I'm glad that journalists are actually doing their job because we saw what happened under Donald Trump, but more importantly, and the final point to this is we saw what happened under Obama. They wouldn't ask that guy jack. That was my point, Sam. Does all that make sense?
Okay. It does. And I appreciate your comment.
All right, man. We got to take a break. It's 5:34 here on 92.5 Fox News. Trey Radel, your host of The Drive. Be right back.
This is 92.5 Fox News.
This news update is presented by Island Air. High-quality AC repair and installation. Online at islandairefl.com.
There is nothing that changes as much as tax law. After all, there have been tax changes, stimulus dollars, changes on the changes, but they're all meant to put more money in your pocket. Don't make a mistake that could cost you thousands. Let EG Tax be your tax interpreter and guide. Come join the EG Tax family at their Naples office across from Tamiami Ford. Call 239-262-2009. That's 262-2009. Or click egtax.com. That's egtax.com.
It's a hot afternoon, and you're listening to the news. And now you're hot under the collar, too. I'm Matt from Island Air. When you choose an AC contractor, you're entrusting that company with the air that you and your family breathe. A healthy unit means a healthier household. Island Air has a long history in Southwest Florida and hundreds of customer reviews that you can see on our website at islandairfl.com, where you will see the Island Air difference. Want to try us out? Our $99 System Saver one-time maintenance is guaranteed. If your AC breaks within 6 months of the maintenance, we will credit the payment towards any repair. Island Air also offers free second opinions. Let us review your quote for any service, replacement, or repair for your peace of mind.
IslandAirFL.com. That's IslandAirefL.com. IslandAirefL.com or call 239-645-4668. That's 239-645-4668. License number CAC 057544.
Are you looking for the perfect spot for your retirement? Just add water. Shell Point Retirement Community is located in Fort Myers on the Caloosahatchee River, just minutes from the Gulf of Mexico and Sanibel Island. Enjoy a vibrant waterfront lifestyle with miles of walking and bike trails. For boaters, there's a private marina with free boat docks to keep your boat right at home. Or join your friends on the community boat for cruises to local restaurants and beaches. Shell Point is comprised of 7 neighborhoods with scenic water views. Life slows down on the water as residents enjoy kayaking through hundreds of acres of secluded bird-filled waterways. To learn more about waterfront living at Shell Point, schedule a private appointment or attend one of our weekly group seminars, which include a tour of the community. Call 239-466-1131 or go online to shellpoint.org. Enjoy waterfront living today. It's all here at Shell Point.
This is 92.5 Fox News.
Presented by Rocket Mortgage. Want to see your loan options, adjust payments, and closing costs online in real time? Rocket can.
Hi, it's Kelly and Joseph Edison from Southwest Florida's own Closet Factory.
How do we build the smartest organization solutions in town?
To start, we get to know you on a personal level, which means we know who and what your solution is for.
Then we make it real through old-fashioned craftsmanship and remarkable building technology.
Thousands of organization transformations that create more time, space, and peace every day.
That's how we build it. Let us help you solve your storage need. ClosetFactory.com.
Searching everywhere for great prices on appliances? No, you're not, because you have better things to do. Besides, Good Deals has it for less, and they have plenty of items in stock despite shortages everywhere else. Remember, Good Deals guarantees the lowest price on everything they sell. Find a lower price anywhere, and Jay will beat it, guaranteed. Visit one of the showrooms in Fort Myers, Naples, and Cape Coral, or shop online at GoodDealsAppliances.com.
Good Deals Appliances. Have we got a deal for you?
At LMCU, our roots in your community just got a little deeper with the opening of our 5th branch in Naples and 13th in Florida. When you bank with us, you can earn more on your money with our Max checking account and pay less on things like home mortgages and credit cards. Our latest Naples branch is located at 7405 Devonshire Boulevard, and our lobbies are open. Plus, you can schedule an appointment or visit one of our drive-thrus for contactless service. Our branches stretch far and wide for a reason. You. LMCU. You'll love banking here. Equal housing lender, member NCUA, and MLS number 442967.
Trey Rago is on 92.5 Fox News.
5:38 here on 92.5 Fox News. Trey Rago, your host of The Drive here. From the left and various news publications, there's been, I think, a very weird kind of backlash against space entrepreneurs. We've seen most prominently Elon Musk doing private-public partnerships with the government and doing a hell of a job in terms of space exploration, launching satellites, and what we, if you're a nerd like I am, hope to see is eventually putting people on Mars. And by the way, just on a quick side note, this was years ago, but I don't know if it was the like an international conglomerate of countries that said, we're looking for anyone who will volunteer to go to Mars, but understand you're going to die there. Like that was the appeal. It was very matter of fact that you're going to go, and maybe if we develop the technology, by the time you go, we can get you back. It'll all take a very long time, but we're looking for people who will go and end their lives there. And they didn't know what kind of response they get, and it was hundreds of thousands of people, hundreds of thousands, if not more, that were like, yeah, I'm ready to go to Mars and I'll die there, no problem. Now, in weeding out who's going to do that, you got to go through all sorts of, tests, psychological, that they've actually already put some people into. I think they just reemerged maybe last year, put them in very small camps together with no daylight whatsoever to live there for a year, to just kind of test the boundaries of the human psyche, encased in something where you've got no light, although you would if you're on Mars, but how you live together, how your body's rhythm works in terms of sleep and more. And nobody lost their minds. Like, nobody went nuts. But again, you got to have a very specific set of people there. But I bring this up because there's been this blowback that I think is ridiculous and unnecessary and just wrong from the media and from some in the left about, well, let me phrase it like this. Wealthy private citizens are increasingly becoming the arbiters of who can go to space. And they call them space's new gatekeepers. As if there aren't governments around the frickin' world right now that are doing amazing things, by the way, including putting a probe on the other side of the moon. You've got the UAE trying to send a probe to Mars and more. Countries that had never been involved in the space game are now involved, but because you've got Bezos, you got a Japanese billionaire, a European businessman, Elon Musk, and other corporations that are working and getting in space. What's the problem with that?
I don't understand what the problem is at all, because now we used to have very few options before. If you wanted to go to space, you had to join a space program, and you had to be the best of the best of the best, and you might get a shot at seeing space one day. What they're talking about now is, with a little bit of money or the right opportunity, just about anybody could have that shot in the near future.
We should be celebrating this.
This is awesome. This is amazing. Now the government's no longer the only gatekeeper for space.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
And I think, too, I love to talk about capitalism because it has such a really crappy reputation these days, which is a freaking sin that our universities in particular have taught people, or that the left has stressed to this country and Western Europe and more. If you look at this, people like Elon Musk, he's Henry Ford. He's helping create. We are in cars today because someone who had some capital to invest. Look, I get that Henry Ford wasn't the only car maker, but he was able to streamline the production and bring cars to the public in eventually an affordable way. That's exactly what these men and women are doing around the country today, whether they're part of Fortune 500 companies or it's Elon Musk or Japanese billionaire Yusaku Maezawa, or however the hell you pronounce his name. Sorry. That's one of the languages I'm not too familiar with. But like, these are pioneers. We should be celebrating them. They're the ones who, when your perhaps great-grandchild is like, yeah, I'm going on a quick space ride today, that's who you thank, these pioneers. I mean, think about it. I'm shooting up to the moon. We're going to hang out there for a while. I love to think about really random-ass stuff like this, of what space, either like mini vacations or day trips, could consist of when you have this type of a path being plotted forward from people like an Elon Musk and others who are saying, I want to make space travel affordable. And when you've got someone like Elon Musk, who does walk this fine line between being absolutely brilliant and absolutely batsh insane. Like, he's like, I want to make it fun. You could even envision, you're like, I'm going to go take a trip to the moon. We're going to play a game of soccer, football, for those of you streaming us from other parts of the world, on the moon, with very little gravity. It's going to be fun as hell. Like, you could see that, where I'm just going to go up there, I'm going to tour, I'm going to walk around, I'm going to jump around, and it's going to be great, and then I'm going to be back tonight.
It's very different when you watch a launch now compared to 30 years ago. Because now, every time there's a separation, everybody stands up, they cheer, papers go up in the air, it's great, everybody's happy. In the old days, it was like, we've got separation of the second saucer section, and everybody sits there and stares at the screens. And that was a successful separation. And I'm like, now it's fun. Space travel's fun again.
And let me even be jaded, but in a positive way, if that makes any sense at all. I'd ask, who the hell watches space launches anymore? Right? Like, think about, from the if you really look from the 70s and 80s, for 2 decades, like record ratings, the shuttles are taking off, people are watching, people are paying attention. And then you get in the 90s and it's like, whatever.
Shuttles became very routine.
Totally.
Yeah.
Which is a great thing. And so now, yes, it is not only a routine thing, although even though NASA was held up for a little bit, which again exemplifies why it's such a great thing to have these public-private partnerships that should have been done, by the way, starting with JFK. Look, if there were security concerns at that point, okay. But at least moving into the late 1970s, we should have had public-private partnerships with the federal government doing what we're doing today. And do you know how far along the space? We'd be on Mars right now.
I was just going to say, if we have been stunted over the years because we've only had the government to look to for this one thing. And I think that, like you said, had they gotten into it 40 years ago, we'd have Moon Base Alpha up there right now on the moon. They'd be looking back at us.
We'd be in the movie, the show The Expanse, Dan.
Exactly.
Which you still have to watch.
Yep.
Katrina, you getting into sci-fi at all?
Yeah, some.
Have you ever seen The Expanse?
No, I have not.
Oh.
I like Star Trek.
If you both do. You both like Star Trek, I'm telling you.
Oh, what's not to like,
The Expanse, it's something that...
it is the largest television franchise ever. I mean, come on.
It is.
It is.
And I wonder... God, now I'm diving into pop culture. We're going to get out of this soon, I promise people. Ian has just wrote me in. You look at that just from a strictly business model standpoint. And I do wonder if that's what The Expanse is trying to do. There's these rumors now they're going to have one more season. That'll be it. But they already have all these offshoots for it. Kind of similar to Star Wars, which, again, what you taught me a term that I never knew. Star Trek is science fiction. Star Wars is science fantasy.
Mm-hmm.
But still, there is this fascination with space that I love. I'm one of those nerds. And I grew up on freaking Luke Skywalker and Darth Vader. And you have all these offshoots, which have generally been successful. Maybe some of them. Although I got to say, this is a little controversial. I think that the best Star Wars movie is Rogue One, which is just an offshoot.
Rogue One is cool, though. I liked it.
It's a phenomenal film.
Yes.
Like, it's a war movie. It moves fast. You don't have a lot of the cheesiness that you sometimes got with anything that they had the influence of George. I can't even think of his name right now. The creator. Yeah, thank you. And Rogue One is just phenomenal.
I'll have to watch that.
I'll
give it a shot.
Favorite.
Open mind, give it a shot.
Have you seen any Star Wars movies?
I saw the first three, which I really liked, and then I saw the second three, which were technically the first three, and they weren't that good.
Oh my God!
And
dude.
I've never watched anything since.
I would rather watch MSNBC all day long than watch those movies. Those technically the first three Star Wars, those are terrible. And again, to go back to like the terrible writing and everything of like all the stupid love story and all that, it was just done horribly.
Now, the original trilogy is where it's at, and then Rogue One is amazing. Everything else is garbage.
Rogue One happens right after, it's right before, it's right after the first three and right before the second three. Like the closing scene on Rogue One it gets me a little nostalgic. It's a little emotional. But like you see it, anyway, I got to stop this. It's 5:50.
There's no time for love and romance in space.
Well, look, there can be. Like in the first three, to go back to Katrina's point of the first three of where it's at, like there it's Han Solo and Leia. Like it's not overbearing and dumb. Like you're never going to sit there and listen to two people talk like, honest to God, like a soap opera on one of the networks from like 1982. That's the way this stuff was written. Horrible writing and all of that. But I do think that Rogue One, you dig, man. It's like a war film, but it's still fun in space, and it's got humor and everything. Hi, everybody. This is a very serious news political talk program.
Kinda.
I'm Trey Radel, who sometimes talks about politics, but we do love to dive into space. But damn it, I did make a point here, people, that capitalism is what is going to push us into space so you can go play soccer on the moon, so we can go, on a more serious note, line up on asteroids to get minerals and valuable things that we need here on Earth so we don't need to strip Earth of it. We're going to go have fun. We're going to explore space. And it is no different from what Henry Ford, near and dear to our hearts here in Southwest Florida, did.
And let's face it, the government's been doing this for over 50 years, and they did nothing with it. It's stagnated. It's stagnated out completely.
We studied a few animals and how they take a piss in space.
All they did was come out every day and tell us how that rock's nothing but a rock, and that rock's nothing but a rock, and that's nothing but nothing, and that's nothing either.
Tang and Velcro.
Yeah.
I mean, they're kind of cool, but not really.
Tang tasted like crap.
Oh,
Velcro's
it's terrible.
good. Velcro's good, though.
So this is great. Capitalism is awesome. Capitalism is why we can afford cars and travel, and why we can fly in planes, and why we're going to end up in space. And God bless people like the Japanese billionaire Elon Musk and more. We'll be right back. This is The Drive.
This is 92.5 Fox
This Fox News Business Report is presented by Big Island Builders, whose reputation for quality homes at a fair price is unsurpassed in Naples.
I'm Liz Clayman, and this is the Fox Business Report. Stocks finished higher, but the Dow's gains faltered in the final minutes of trading as receding bond yields helped to send the tech-heavy Nasdaq to its best day since early November after closing in correction territory on Monday. Investors are also hopeful that a $1.9 trillion fiscal stimulus package will be signed into law this week, which will give a lift to the economy. The Dow rising 30 points, the Nasdaq up 465, S&P 500 up 54. Shares of Boeing took off and closed up 3%. The company said it received more new orders than cancellations for planes in February. Boeing delivered 22 aircraft, up from 17 a year earlier, and its net orders had turned positive for the first time in 14 months. And Tesla stock rebounding from a deep sell-off and rising nearly 20% after data showed an increase in China's sales and an analyst raised his rating on the electric car maker. That's your Fox Business Report. I'm Hillary Barsky, invested in you.
Some big news. Since Election Day, almost 5 million people have downloaded the free Newsmax TV app on their smartphone. You can trust Newsmax TV. Watch it for free anytime. And go to Newsmax.com for breaking news. Newsmax is on all major cable systems. Call your operator if they don't carry it. Plus, watch Newsmax on Roku, YouTube, Apple TV, Xumo, TiVo Plus, Pluto, and smart TVs like Samsung and LG. Newsmax is real news for real people. Start watching.
You find yourself searching for a reputable air conditioning company?
Don't sweat, call Brett.
I'm Crystal Casey with Brett Air Conditioning. For over 45 years, our motto has been, don't sweat, call Brett. We are a family-owned business with a great reputation. Whether your AC needs maintained, serviced, or replaced, we are here to serve you. So stop searching and join the Brett Air family today. You can find us online at brettairconditioning.com or call us at 239-566-3633. 239-566-3633.
If you don't love your AC company, call Brett Air right now. Find them online at brettairconditioning.com or like them on Facebook.
Don't sweat, call Brett.
License number CAC 1819995.
This is State Representative Spencer Roach with a legislative update from the state capitol in Tallahassee, where we've wasted no time getting to work to honor our commitment to protect Floridians from bad actors looking to capitalize on this pandemic. This week, we passed 2 bills off the House floor. House Bill 7 raises the standard and makes it harder to bring a COVID lawsuit against businesses, schools, nonprofits, and churches. Responsible business owners who make good faith efforts to protect their customers should never be subject to the extortionary tactics of lawyers looking to cash in. We also passed House Bill 9, which creates criminal penalties to protect Floridians from scammers related to PPE and vaccines. Times are tough enough right now without having to worry about being scammed. This is State Representative Spencer Roach. Thanks for listening. Stay tuned and stay engaged, because this is your government and we work for you. Sponsored by Friends of Spencer Roach, Post Office Box 3179, North Fort Myers, Florida, 33918.
Glenn Beck at 9 a.m. and Sean Hannity at 3. This is Trey Radel on 92.5 Fox News.
Let me take a quick call here as we get to the 6 o'clock hour. Michelle in Naples. Hey, you're on the drive.
Hello?
Yes, Michelle, you're on the drive. Go ahead.
Oh, hi, Trey. I listened to you talk about space. I got to ask you. Did you ever take a look at the picture of Apollo 11? You do know it's made with like copper, aluminum, PVC pipe, and it's got all sorts of inconsistencies. So, yeah. And those guys didn't go up and have a party. What makes you think that they're going to put together a whole program in a couple of years and send people off the planet so that they can have this free will of life?
Okay, I first of all, I can't understand a whole lot of what you're saying, but I just want to understand something. The first question I'd have is, do you think that the moon landing was fake? Is that, I don't know what you're implying here.
I'm not saying the moon landing was fake, but what they presented to the public was fake. Honest to God. Take a look at the picture of Apollo 11.
Wow. So you believe it's all, how do you rectify that? I'm not saying it wasn't fake, but what they presented was fake. Do you think that do you think that the United States, and Ian, you could chime in any minute here. Do you think that the moon landing was fake?
I think that they probably went, but they didn't want to have anybody kind of follow it in case it was a failure. We couldn't take it that if the whole thing went up and it blew up. So they already put together something that looked like a landing. Take a look at the picture of what they're presenting of the landing. Take a close-up look at the picture of the Apollo 11. I was looking at it last night on the phone. The picture, it's made of copper, aluminum, and PVC pipe. Just look at it and scrutinize it. They presented that for the people. So that maybe they made it up there, and maybe they landed and came back. But why didn't they go back for another, 70, 30, 40, 50 years?
Well, 40 years? That's a good question, why they never went back. That's an excellent question. And
what Ian is saying, let me
we
be
can
a
talk
jerk.
about conspircy theories on that all day long.
I'm not talking about a conspiracy theory. They said, how come you didn't go back? You know what the engineer said? Oh, we lost the architectural drawing. Really? That's
Okay,
I've never heard that.
I've never heard that. And then we're talking to two people full of this.
When you're looking at the limb in those pictures, okay, you're looking at a lander that never had to actually fly through space or through an atmosphere. I want you to understand that. We're used to seeing planes and things that have to fly through an atmosphere. That limb was protected by an outer shell when it left the atmosphere, and there is no atmosphere on the moon. It's designed as a piece of equipment that never actually sees an atmosphere. So it doesn't have to have a hard shell around the outside of it. It is just literally pieces of pipe and pieces of tinfoil and things like that. It is. That's what it was. It's absolutely what it was. It was made to hold a couple of guys for a few days and then shoot back up a short distance, and that was it. That's all it was designed to do, and it never had to fly in an atmosphere. So it never had aerodynamics, and it never had flight surfaces or any of those kind of things. So that's why it looks like that on those photographs.
I'm sorry. It looks so tinsely.
No matter what you say to Michelle, did you cut her? Is she still on?
I'm here. I'm here. I'm listening.
I mean, no matter what, you believe what you believe, that it was. I mean, it's a weird answer what you give, that it was faked, but not really. Like, do you? Okay, I don't. Okay, so Michelle. Like, do you think after all of the, like, this is something that I'm genuinely curious about, and Ian and I have even gotten into this, a similar form of this debate on the election, which we're not talking about today.
Okay, I promise
like, do you think that after all of these years, that could be hidden under wraps? That is just something that all of these people that were involved, because there's loads of people, this wasn't just like, hey, the president of the United States is only working with the Secretary of Defense, and only those two have oversight of this. I'm just using a random example here of a probe, not even any men or women on it, that's going to go to the moon and then come back. But these are the only two guys that can monitor it in 1960 whatever. Like
1969.
I know. I'm not talking about the space launch. Hear me out.
We were very gullible.
I'm just utilizing this as an example of how, maybe back, many, many decades ago, it's a hell of a lot easier to run a conspiracy similar to what I just laid out with very few people involved. But do you know the amount of people that were involved in this, Michelle, in the creating of the spacecraft, the NASA program itself, the cameras, the freaking satellites, the radio communications, the cameras, the feed, all of it? Do you think that, number one, all of those people would conspire and be quiet, and then, after all these years, that still nothing would ever be found?
Well, actually, there was a few things that were reported, but you know how they get buried. I mean, I found them.
See, again, what we end up doing is, well, no, it was just buried. Well, what about this group that oversaw it? Well, you know, they're corrupt too. What about this group that went and looked into the science and mechanics? Well, they too. Like, it just...
Obviously, you're pretty excited about this whole thing, and I think that's terrific. But let me ask you something. Are you going to get on one of those rocket ships? Because you couldn't get me on one.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'd get on one today if I could.
Yeah,
I'd go today. It'd be worth the adventure, worth the risk.
And for me, thank you for the call, Michelle. I have children. I wouldn't risk that on one of the first flights. But like, if I was at the age right now, and some of the first ones were going to go, and it was, if I could afford it, and my kids were grown, and they realized the risk that I was taking by going, oh, I'm there. I'm in. And if I can play some football on the moon, oh, hell yeah. Think about the leagues we can have up there. The Moon League of Sports. I mean, like, you can really start thinking of some really bizarre stuff when it comes to what we could do there. If you're just tuning into this psychotic program, my name is Trey Radel, and we usually talk politics. Where all of this actually did spring from is that capitalism rocks, which is an unfortunate thing in our culture today that the left has dismissed as a terrible thing. Capitalism is what is going to lead us to being able to have football leagues, soccer leagues on the moon, also go to Mars. And we started this conversation because, unfortunately, there are many people who are dismissing these wealthy entrepreneurs like an Elon Musk, a Japanese billionaire and more, saying, oh, now they're the arbiters of space. Well, yeah. Now it's opening up to the public. It's not just the freaking government telling you that you have to go through 20 years of training, join the military, whatever you got to do to be able to go. These are the Henry Fords of our generation that make travel accessible. Ford did it in a great way that made an automobile accessible to the American public to expand, to drive, to go out and see this beautiful country, build this country. And that's what the Elon Musks of the world are doing right now in space. We'll be right back. This is The Drive.
This is 92.5 Fox News.
I'm about to say a dirty word, a really dirty word. Cover your kids' ears. Ready? Plumber. Hi, I'm Rob Hill of Bob Hill Plumbing. I'm not sure why plumber is a dirty word. I like to think of myself as a respectful, clean, and honest plumber. In fact, I'm proud to say that Bob Hill Plumbing is one of the oldest businesses in Naples. My dad founded Bob Hill Plumbing in 1952. I instilled the same tradition and values as he had back in the 50s. I dare you to find that in the chuck in a truck world. Everyone has an AC guy or an electrical guy, but a plumber? If you need plumbing services, I invite you to call me today, and I'll prove to you that we've cleaned up the word plumber. See, even the radio guy stopped beeping me out. Bob Hill Plumbing. Let me be your plumbing guy.
To schedule service, call Bob Hill Plumbing at 262-6119 or go to bobhillplumbing.com.
This is Mike Roberts, Vice President at Mortgage Warehouse, Southwest Florida's mortgage price leader and home of the no closing cost mortgage. No points, no hidden fees, no loan costs, period. If the mortgage you have right now was done prior to COVID-19, you should call us for a free review. At Mortgage Warehouse, we understand how frustrating it can be to make your mortgage payment month after month, and the loan balance just doesn't seem to go down. The payment is mostly interest, but we can help with that. We can combine near record low mortgage rates with our local no closing cost program to improve your mortgage payment right away. You do not have to roll any closing costs into your loan balance to get these ultra low mortgage rates. You can apply online at mortgagewarehouse.com or call 313-5000. That's 313-5000 MortgageWarehouse.com.
Certain restrictions apply. NMLS ID 137154. Equal housing lender.
Hot out today, huh?
You know it.
Glad the AC's working.
No kidding.
What if the AC quit?
Oh, man. Couldn't do a thing inside then.
Too hot.
No way Ashley could do her homework in here.
Hard to concentrate.
Wouldn't even bother trying to study.
Well...
Of course her grades would slip.
Dave.
She could kiss Harvard goodbye.
Dave.
Probably end up homeless. Oh, my little girl.
Dave.
What?
What's the best case scenario?
Best case? Okay, best case, I make one call, AC's back up and running right away, everything's fine.
That's best?
Oh, sure, but...
That's best. Best Home Services. They have 4 AC trucks standing by waiting for you to call, loaded with parts, ready to go.
Right now?
Right now.
Huh. Sure is hot out today.
GetBest.com.
When something goes wrong, we're waiting.
So, you're saying...
She can still go to Harvard.
Hi, doctor.
So how are you feeling?
With Millennium Physician Group's telehealth service, MPG Connect, be seen by your Millennium healthcare provider in the comfort of your home from your computer, smartphone, or tablet.
So good to see you.
Call your Millennium doctor's office or 844-CALL-MPG to request a virtual visit with the care team who knows you best.
I'll talk to you soon.
Millennium's telehealth service, MPG Connect. Your doctor, your device, your connection to a healthier life.
A refreshing swim in your pool shouldn't be interrupted by cloudy water, a broken heater, or faulty equipment. Healthy Pools of Southwest Florida keeps your oasis ready to enjoy every day. Their experts complete a 20-point checklist at each visit, keeping your pool healthy and protecting your investment. Relax knowing your pool is in good hands. Call 239-425-0300 right now and receive your first month free. That's 239-425-0300 or healthypoolsswfl.com. Healthy Pools is a for God and country company.
Trey Ragle is on 92.5 Fox News.
.608 here on 92.5 Fox News. Trey Radel, your host of The Drive here. Are you going to change your mind about the vaccine if you're saying that you're not going to take it? Are you going to change your mind if you're told, well, the only way that you can fly is if you get a vaccine? If you are someone who travels any amount, or perhaps, let me throw in something, it's just a random thought here, a dark one, albeit. Maybe you have family up north. Maybe you have a mother or father of an advanced age, and the only way that you get to mom or dad up north is by plane. Do you see a day where the airline industry says the only way that you can fly on this plane is if you're vaccinated? Phone lines are open, 239-479-5592, 239-479-5592. There are numerous articles now that are indicating, look, let me take a step back. When you look at different types of headlines and content that come out of specifically Washington-based publications, you can really begin to foresee what administrations are going to do. Let me get in the weeds here with that for a second. Websites or media organizations like Politico or Axios, if you've heard of those two. There's a new one called Punchbowl that actually was 3 very successful people from Politico that broke off and started their own thing. And these 3 in particular tend to be like the most detailed, in the weeds, daily operational publications that will look at everything that's happening in D.C. and look at it at every angle, like, what's the legislation happening here? Which committee pushed it? Why did this person sponsor it? What are the political ramifications? So I bring this up because when you look at, and by the way, I'd throw Washington Post in there to some degree as well. When you're looking at Politico, Axios, a Punchbowl, this newer one, or the Washington Post, you can begin to see where administrations are heading. When, for example, even the Trump administration, I'm using the word even because a lot of these publications, I think, often lean more left than they do right. There's, there could be some center ground on some of it. Really depends on who the reporter is. But the Trump administration would undoubtedly plant stories within some of these publications because it was to either get a groundswell in support of policy starting in Washington, D.C., or what they do is they utilize it to gauge public opinion. And so you will see a very specific type of story on, here's one example, Donald Trump, the Trump administration saying that they are going to halt any people coming in from these specific countries. Now, of course, Trump, because everything he did was racist. I mean, the guy, no matter what Donald Trump did, he was declared a racist. He could go walk a dog. He could go the way that he walks, the way that he talks. Everything that he did was racist. They called it the Muslim ban. The reality was there was other countries, not just Muslim, predominantly Muslim countries, but they do this, and some of it is to kind of gauge the feel or sentiment of lawmakers in Washington. But it can also be used to push further out to gauge the public's reaction. And when you're going to have other stories, maybe not so quite in the weeds as where visas are going to be allowed or not allowed or who's allowed in, perhaps a story that like cutting taxes of some sort, that would be placed in USA Today, right? Like you get my feel on that? Like USA Today, very different audience from somebody reading a Politico Axios. So I'm telling you right now, going back to what I started with, of what I think will be a battle in 2021 and 2022, it's going to be whether or not the government allows entire industries to say you can only use this part of our industry, for example, planes, flying in our planes, if you're vaccinated. Schools. Can your child go to school? Right now, we have religious exemptions. But when you look at the way that the school system is set up right now, they're pushing you hard to have all your kids vaccinated. Again, my children are vaccinated. I'm not an anti-vaxxer. I am undoubtedly skeptical of getting the COVID vaccine right now. I am still of the same mindset of, I'm going to let everybody else go and we'll see what happens. But these publications right now are really starting to push. Axios saying the barriers to vaccine passports. Their vaccine passports could become available soon to help people resume their lives. Let me just phrase that in a more simple way here for you real quick. Get your vaccine, then you can go do stuff like travel. But these vaccine passports face numerous scientific, social, and political barriers to being accepted. The big picture, reliable and accessible proof of vaccine-induced protection from the novel coronavirus could speed international travel and economic reopening, but obstacles to its wide-scale adoption are so great it may never fully arrive. Katrina, I reflect on something that you said very openly that I, who's not shocked by much, was taken aback by. And it's not the fact that you've never had a vaccine, which, again, you've been public about this. We've talked about this. But I asked, what if you can't do certain things like fly? What if you couldn't do, just a host of things without getting the vaccine? What would you do?
I'd find a card on the black market that shows that I've had my vaccines, because I'll be damned if I get one.
And that's a pretty powerful answer. Like that really, for me, spins me off into so many different angles of where this is headed. How will this new battle really unfold? Look, we see that the Biden administration already has implemented a wide-ranging executive order over every airport in the United States. Any traveler coming into the United States, train stations all over the U.S. They even went to the extent by saying ride sharing, like Uber and Lyft, they're mandating by federal law, you got to wear a mask. Where does this go? So we see the Biden administration doing that right now. What if it starts getting implemented and you've got, I never fancy Katrina as a rebel, but maybe. But what she's talking about right now, as she takes calls, and our phone lines are open, 239-479-5592, is just, F it. I'm going to the black market.
Well, and the government will realize early on that people are forfeiting or are forging these, and what they'll do is they'll have to make it a form of government ID.
Yeah.
That way forgery would be a crime.
And so you then begin to, again, walk down these different paths of all of these, kind of repercussions out of this. Look, regardless of how you feel about the war on drugs, for example, where there is a massive black market, and by the way, there's been a black market for narcotics throughout all of human history in one way or another. It's like prostitution. Regardless of the taboo talk about how you feel about prostitution, it has been around forever. No government law, no regulator, nobody's ever been able to stop it. It's always there. So if you begin to create a black market, what ends up happening is exactly what Ian just illustrated, which is the government created these rules, but now we're going to have to implement even more rules to fix what we created here. There's always, for every action, there is some sort of equal and opposite reaction.
And I'm sure that new Vax card that you'll get from the government will come with a tax, a $20 or $30 tax that goes along with it to administrate giving them out and all that kind of good stuff.
And so by the way, there's another side note that I have to point out. This entire article goes through all of this, of some of the ethical ramifications that we're talking about, like, is the government going to create cards? Is this a situation where, does this sound familiar? Do you have your papers? Yes, it is World War II, pre-World War II, Nazi Germany. Are you carrying your papers? You cannot do this. You cannot go here. You cannot board this plane, this train, or whatever. Where are your papers? But something I'd be remiss if I didn't point out in this exact same article. Listen to this line. It's just a beauty that illustrates where we're at and how little we know. Medical experts still don't fully know how effective vaccinations or exposure to the virus are preventing onward transmission of COVID-19. Let me just again rephrase that. Hi, in this article, we're talking about having your papers, and in one way or another, this is in some way kind of pushing to see how the public's going to react to demanding that you absolutely go get vaccinated before you do a damn thing in your life. Oh, but by the way, we really don't even know if they work, bro. Callers on hold, we'll get to you. Phone number is 239-479-5592. Again, I see on hold, line or two open if you want to call in. 239-479-5592. I'm Trey Radel. This is The Drive.
This is 92.5 Fox
Your
News.
home is more important now than ever before. So when your air conditioner needs maintenance, repair, or replacing, Conditioned Air wants to be your first and only call. The Florida weather can be challenging. When you have a cooling issue, our team is here to resolve it quickly and efficiently. You can be assured of honesty, respect, and our desire to exceed your expectations every single time, and we've been doing that since 1962. Conditioned Air, 1-888-COLD-AIR, or online at conditionedair.com. License number CAC 1819590.
This is an important health update from your friends at National Exterminators, because your safety comes first. As people are spending more time at home, it's important to keep your home as healthy as possible. Some of our biggest concerns come from pests and vermin, vectoring these different diseases. National Exterminators is your best choice in protection from these types of concerns. They're taking even more steps to ensure your wellness, with daily disinfecting protocols for their offices and fleet vehicles, with extra barrier treatments to stop the pest outside. National Exterminators has specialized hospital quality disinfectants that are on each vehicle. And if indoor service is required, National Exterminators wears nitrile gloves, clean shoe covers, and N95 face style mask for your protection. National Exterminators is now including this in their $46 program. So what's stopping you? Call 239-46-NO-BUG. That's 239-46-NO-BUG. Or go to pestcontrolmadeeasy.com.
We're honest and true, and we're here to serve you. The National Exterminators.
There is nothing that changes as much as tax law. After all, there have been tax changes, stimulus dollars, changes on the changes, but they're all meant to put more money in your pocket. Don't make a mistake that could cost you thousands. Let EG Tax be your tax interpreter and guide. Come join the EG Tax family at their Naples office across from Tamiami Ford. Call 239-262-2009. That's 262-2009. Or click egtax.com. That's egtax.com.
Dial star 2020. Friends, I care.
Trey Radel, your host of The Drive here. I've told you about Dr. France and his team about how they've changed my life with my often terrible eyes. Well, they can change yours. I want to talk to you today, though, about cataract surgery. You know, for years it was very basic on what you did, but now technology has transformed over the years so much that it's not just about having your cataracts removed, it is about your lifestyle. Whether you need vision correction for near, far, and in-between distances, or maybe night driving's your issue, or you need extended depth of focus, Dr. France and his team are ready to help. Don't let cataracts hold you back in 2021. Call France Eye Care today to schedule your screening. Star 2020 from your cell phone or dial 239-418-0999.
Friends, I care.
Trey Radel is on 92.5 Fox News.
I'm looking up at the screen and seeing someone I know. Dr. Alan Cordell in Naples.
How are you?
I got to give full see, the journalist in me still has to come out. I got to give full transparency here. Grew up with his son was just on our show yesterday. The attorney Spencer Cordell, who we love having. So we got the son father combo here. Dr. Alan Cordell, a doctor based in Cincinnati who spends time. Do you live here permanently now?
No, I'm still a snowbird, but I'm now retired from surgery and spending a lot more time in Naples.
And
Well, I get to listen to your
doctor,
show.
what do you specialize in? Tell us a little bit. Tell the audience about yourself.
All right, I'm a retired urologic surgeon, so I'm not infectious or in internal medicine. I'm more of a surgeon, but I did go to medical school and spent 40 years practicing medicine, and I have a few opinions about the vaccine that differ from some of your opinions.
All right.
I would like to,
Please.
express that a little bit. A couple of things. Number one, I'm not really sure why you're opposed to it, and I think that being opposed to it and broadcasting it, much like Biden did early on, saying, I will not take a vaccine that's made by Trump. Well, Trump didn't make the vaccine. He had nothing
But
to
real
do
quick,
with it.
Dr. Cordell, I have never, ever stated that I am opposed to the vaccine. Just to be clear, let me reiterate what I've stated, and I mean, like I've stated repeatedly, what I've always said from the very beginning is I am not an anti-vaxxer. I'm going to repeat myself, like listeners will hear this over. I am not an anti-vaxxer. My children are vaccinated. I've had vaccinations. I've taken the flu shot, especially when I had kids. I am absolutely 100% open to the vaccine for COVID-19. I just don't want to be the first in line. And so I want to kind of watch what happens. And while, you know, we look at these anecdotal reports from around the world, I'm totally open to it. I'll probably end up taking it, but I just am not going to be the first in line for it.
Well, you can't be the first in line because
Understood.
20 million people.
I'm being more figurative rather than literal, but go ahead.
But nonetheless, figuratively, I think you're scaring a few people off when you have that attitude. And I don't think we need people to be scared off. We need everybody to get this. Just like smallpox and polio, we were able to eradicate those diseases pretty much 100% in polio's case, but by vaccines. Vaccines are effective and they're safe, And this one is more safe than most of them have ever been. It's been studied more thoroughly. Even though you think it's been in a short time, we were able to recruit patients at a 10 times faster rate than usual. A lot of diseases where we're developing medicines, treatments, or vaccines, it takes a long time to accrue 1 million people to try it. Well, with this vaccine, we had no trouble. We had people lined up to take this and to try it. So we were able to accrue millions of people to do this, so the p-value is exceedingly accurate, and it's very safe. And it's probably as safe as penicillin or aspirin. And right now, there are people that have...
Dr. Cordell, though, when you have the CDC itself, they're not making statements like that. You know, I'm looking for what I used to have a very specific explainer page that came directly from the CDC, and in my quoting of it, I always was very, even like I started this conversation. I started this conversation, Dr. Cordell, saying, I want full transparency here. I want people to know that we know each other, that your son was on. I've got a relationship with you, and damn it, I've worked my ass off to do the same with this vaccine. I have never at any moment said, don't take it, or I'm not going to take it. I have been very transparent. And in fact, in my looking at the information, reading the information, which I'm having a hell of a time finding it right now, but Ian, Katrina, you'll back me up here. I read directly off of the CDC's website using their language, very specific. And what they're saying and what they've said is that this is not like vaccines of the past. And the CDC, Fauci, sure as hell wouldn't use the words that you used, that it's as safe as aspirin. I don't think he'd ever say anything like that because this is a different type. This is an mRNA. Is that the correct phraseology?
That is correct. Messenger RNA.
And how long has that been used?
We've used messenger RNA for other things in the past. First time we've used it for a vaccine.
Okay, there. So let's just hear me out. Just hear me out, please. Please, I let you say your piece, and again, this is now just kind of coming to me. I read it a few times on air over the past year, but the mRNA, you just said this is the first time that we've used it in this way, which again, I'm totally open to saying, great, I hope we make progress with it. I'm hopeful, and I really want it to work. However, if you don't see why I would be skeptical or why a boatload of Americans are getting crapped on every day because they question this vaccine, I think that that's a disservice to Americans who are a little bit skeptical of the government, which I think you might be too in some of your other conservative leanings. It's okay to ask questions. It's okay to be skeptical. And I think you just hit the nail on the head of one of the main reasons why is because this is really new. Go ahead.
But we've had time, and a number of people have been studied to the extent that it's as safe as anything is ever going to be. And I still say that by your reluctance to say, well, I shouldn't be the first to take it, that you're turning off a lot of people in the community that makes them say, I don't want to be the first either. Well, first of all, you can't be the first. The first happened about 3 months ago.
Yeah, again, come on, doctor. You know that I'm speaking in a figurative term when I say I don't want to be first in line. Of course I know I'm not going to be first in line, and it should be. The way that here in the state of Florida, given that each state has had some control over the way it's distributed, Governor Ron DeSantis has said it's going to be for this age group, which is most vulnerable to the COVID-19, who's going to get it first. Obviously, I'm not saying I'm going to be first in line, dude. You know that. But that said, for me, would you? But a question here. Look, this show is not me. Again, while I may have my DNA in my heart and brain of being a journalist and really trying to convey transparency, and even when I give my opinion, people know what it is. But this isn't a news show. I mean, I'm saying how I feel, and a hell of a lot of people, doctor, identify with me, and I don't like crapping all over them like I think a lot of in the media have done.
Well, I tend to disagree a little bit with that.
So what do you think I should say?
You should say, I will take it as soon as it's available to me. That's what you
I'm
should
not
be
going.
saying.
I'd be lying.
Well, see, that's why we disagree, because I think you should be. And we'll have to agree to disagree, because I think that
I
disservice.
can agree. This is complicated. Now getting convoluted. I can agree to disagree on the first part. On the second part, not the first part. What I mean by that is, I'm not going to lie. I am skeptical. I ask questions, and a lot of that comes from. And you know where it comes from, Doctor? Is watching Fauci and the CDC tell my friggin' buddy Ron DeSantis that he's a piece of trash. I'm a little emotional right now. Behold, just hear me out for a second.
I can understand that.
Yeah. So I'm a little apprehensive about listening to the CDC and Fauci take a hot, steamy crap all over my buddy Ron DeSantis, while Newsom and Cuomo send people to their death, whether it's COVID-19, suicide, alcohol, drugs, overdoses across the country because of the way that they locked up their states. And all I heard from the same government you're telling me to trust, the same CDC you're telling me to trust, is what a bad job Ron is doing and how we're all going to die. Yet, again, I'm sorry. You got me all pumped up.
No,
here.
that's fine.
But yet,
no, that's cool.
But,
I happen to agree with that 100%.
So, but that's where I find a disconnect.
CDC.
You're saying that I should accept CDC, go first in line, tell everybody, yeah, man, shoot it into my veins. Yet, when I'm skeptical, that upsets you.
Yeah, it does. It upsets me that you're turning some people against taking the vaccine, and I think.
But do you see where I'm coming from here about
I understand that, and I agree with you on that thing with Fauci and the CDC. I don't agree with everything they say, but I agree with the science study that's behind this and the number of patients that we've enrolled and seen very little or no side effects other than a rare allergic reaction, which can happen with anything.
Of course.
I didn't say it was like aspirin. I said you can have an allergic reaction to aspirin or penicillin. You can have an allergic reaction to the vaccine, but it's exceedingly rare because there's not much antigen in that type of vaccine that can cause allergic reactions. Nonetheless, I think that everybody should take it as soon as it's available because it's as safe as it's ever going to be. And the sooner we get people vaccinated, the better off we're going to be. So we go to ball games and churches and bars and restaurants.
But because we don't want super spreader events, let me ask you again, just to, this is me, I'm not even trying to be a flippant smartass right now, but I heard that the Super Bowl was going to be a super spreader event. I heard that church was going to be a super spreader event. I heard that the Biden celebrations were going to be a super spreader event. I heard that the riots and looting throughout the summer of 2020 were going to be a super spreader. Have we had a super spreader anywhere in the U.S.?
Many weddings were super spreader events. Many weddings, because they were close and they were not using mitigation and they were dancing together. So a lot of weddings and a lot of churches were at first, and then they learned to mitigate and only get 25% attendance, et cetera. So, yeah, there have been super spreaders out there. But I agree. No, the Super Bowl was not. People were aware of it, and they protected themselves. Nonetheless, vaccines are good, and everybody should get it as soon as they can.
I hear. We agree on a lot of things.
Well, you know what? I really appreciate that, and we do agree on a lot of things. I listen to your show all the time because I agree with you. And first time I called in, I thought since Spencer did it last night, we called after that.
Dr. Cordell, by the way, your son is great. Spencer's phenomenal to have on. Way better than you, you jerk. No, I'm only kidding.
Yeah,
I'm just totally playing.
His mother, the lawyer. His mother's the lawyer, not his father, the doctor.
All right, we agree to disagree. I'm not going to lie to the people. I do have my concerns, and I think I outlined them, and you did as well with your long history in many decades of being in the medical field.
Yes.
Much appreciated. I appreciate it, Dr. Cordell. You have a good one. So Ian, well, I don't even know what time we started. How we doing, man?
Who knows? I don't know.
The phone lines and text blowing up.
Yes. Yeah.
All right.
Not a whole lot of love there, but some.
Yeah. Look, the two major issues I take away, and I know I got to wrap this up, right? What do we want to do here? We'll take a break and get the calls. The two major things that I take away are from that, number one, I think I've made abundantly clear to you listening, that I always say it's ingrained in our DNA as Americans to have a healthy distrust of the federal government, right? Like that's one of the main sort of components of being American, like why we broke off from the monarch, why we got the hell away from Britain. We have a revolutionary war, and our founding fathers had an equal distrust of any kind of highly centralized government. Okay, that's a very big, broad picture here. Now, applying it to the CDC, look, I laid out the many, many different things that we've been told from the CDC. And you look too at the degrees of differences in one message to another. Don't forget, about a year and 2 months ago, we were told, go to Chinatown. And if you don't, you're racist. Go out, go dine, enjoy. There's nothing to be afraid of. And I use Chinatown in a bit of a smart-ass way, because that's exactly where Pelosi and de Blasio, Pelosi in San Francisco, Bill de Blasio, mayor of New York City, that's where they went. Well, we know that there's this COVID-19 that's come out of China, but don't worry about it. We're all going to be good. Go out and dine. And they did these press conferences in Chinatown of their respective cities. And then it's like, oh my God, this is serious. Again, to look at the degrees of differences in messaging, Fauci begins with, don't wear masks. And then it is 10 days to flatten the curve. Where are we today? Because I really do. I'm a little tight on time here. We went from no masks, 10 days to flatten the curve, to our freaking country is still locked down in major states, and they're telling you to double mask it. What? If you would have told me then that this is where we'd be in March of 2021, I'd say, like, that's a stretch. But you know what happens is that these things happen so gradually that we don't really see them. We don't really see the juxtaposition, the absolute degrees of separation between the messages that are really profoundly different. Crazy different. No masks, 10 days. Fast forward a year later. You better be double masking it. We're going to mandate masks everywhere the federal government can, and we're still locked down in 2 major states, California and New York. What?
And there was a lot more inconsistencies.
Of course, tons.
Yeah.
So digest that for a minute, and that is where I come to why, yeah, maybe I'm a little skeptical of taking your mRNA vaccine and shooting it into my body. Is that, to me, that everything that I've laid out is, I think, perfectly acceptable to be skeptical versus, and again, the big thing that I disagree with, like, that's just the skepticism, but I'm never going to come on and just lie. Like, you could look at that through the lens of, like, you really should be responsible as with a platform, with a microphone. You know, you should be responsible. And because this vaccine's the responsible thing for everybody to do, you should tell everyone you're first in line as soon as you can get it. It would be a lie. I am absolutely open to it. And for you thinking about getting it, if you think that you should get it, if you are, by the way, let me find this here. Headline, high BMI and obesity are severe risk factors for COVID-19, CDC says. That's a major indicator. So advanced age, BMI, obesity. By the way, let's talk about government again. Kind of looks like a pretty stupid idea to shut down our gyms all year long and tell people not to go out and exercise. I digress. I'm not going to lie to people. If you want to go get the vaccine, damn it, go get it. We got to take a break, like 3 hours ago. Phone lines are open. At least one line open. Callers will get to you. 239-479-5592.
This is 92.5 Fox
Smart
News.
homeowners know that proper maintenance of their home's AC can save a bundle in the long run. Trust our comfort specialists at 1 Hour Air Conditioning and Heating to keep your AC running strong. A proactive tune-up can actually help your AC run more efficiently and save you money on your electric bill. Call 855-1-HOUR or visit onehourair.com.
Always on time or you don't pay a dime. Always on time or you don't pay a dime.
Independently owned and operated, licensed in their respective state or county.
Trey Radel, your host of The Drive here. Sex. I have your attention, don't I? Well, in studio with us to talk about just that, Dr. Michael P. Varvaris. You visit him online, michaelpvarvarismd.com. Doctor, good to have you here today. Let's talk a little bit about female sex hormones. What a topic.
Well, first off, you need to realize that hormones move around in the blood while they work in the tissue. And what really matters is your tissue level and not your blood level. So when you're taking estradiol or progesterone, whether it's a tablet, an injection, a cream, or a pellet, the blood level is pretty much worthless. Now, doctors usually don't understand this, and patients end up getting horribly overdosed. Now, oral estrogen has been associated with cancer, heart disease, liver disease. Many doctors even use birth control pills for this. And these things contain synthetic hormones, which are basically a kind of poison. Most doctors will use estradiol alone if the patient doesn't have a uterus, not realizing that every cell in a woman's body needs a balance of estradiol combined with progesterone. So if you're a woman, you're on postmenopausal sex hormones, and your doctor is measuring blood levels or putting you on oral estrogen or using birth control pills, you really do need to see me.
You can visit the doctor online. He's located right north of Naples, an easy spot to get to no matter where you're at in Southwest Florida. michaelpvarvarismd.com.
How many client portfolios is your investment advisor responsible for? Is yours one of hundreds? Or perhaps your financial institution has just been acquired by yet another firm, and the team you've known for years is suddenly gone. At the Sanibel Captiva Trust Company and its division, the Naples Trust Company, our portfolio management team is local and care for a proper ratio of account relationships designed to give you the highest possible attention and an asset allocation that is best for you and your goals. Another key factor is that all of our employees are owners in the trust company through an employee stock ownership plan. So we have no interest in being acquired, and more importantly, we have a vested interest in seeing our clients as happy as we are. Are you ready for a better experience? Contact us at the Sanibel Captiva Trust Company or the Naples Trust Company. Visit sancaptrustco.com to discover the difference.
Not FDIC insured. All investments involve risk and are not guaranteed.
Hi, doctor.
So how are you feeling?
With Millennium Physician Group's telehealth service, MPG Connect, be seen by your Millennium healthcare provider in the comfort of your home from your computer, smartphone, or tablet.
So good to see you.
Call your Millennium doctor's office or 844-CALL-MPG to request a virtual visit with the care team who knows you best.
I'll talk to you soon.
Millennium's telehealth service, MPG Connect. Your doctor, your device, your connection to a healthier life.
Steven Tomatoes Sports Page. Come for the food, stay for the sports.
It's Big Al from Stevie Tomatoes Sports Page. Do you feel American pride and want to shout, God bless America? As a son of immigrants who came through Ellis Island, I stand when the national anthem plays and get emotional thinking of those who have sacrificed for America's greatness. At Stevie's, we're filled with gratitude for our great customers and the country we live in. The firemen, police, emergency service, construction workers, and those who go about each day providing the foundation for our country. We love our customers and express our gratitude with our food, service, and value. Thankful for your dedication for what you do. And to all our great customers, show your love for this great country by going to any Stevie's. Stand at the bar and say loud and clear for all to hear, God bless America, and I'll buy you a 10-ounce beer. Restrictions apply in Cape Coral, Fort Myers, and Naples. God bless America.
Steven Tomatoes Sports Page. Come for the food, stay for the sports.
A refreshing swim in your pool shouldn't be interrupted by cloudy water, a broken heater, or faulty equipment. Healthy Pools of Southwest Florida keeps your oasis ready to enjoy every day. Their experts complete a 20-point checklist at each visit, keeping your pool healthy and protecting your investment. Relax knowing your pool is in good hands. Call 239-425-0300 right now and receive your first month free. That's 239-425-0300 or healthypoolsswfl.com. Healthy Pools is a for God and country company.
This is Mike Roberts, Vice President at Mortgage Warehouse, Southwest Florida's mortgage price leader and home of the no closing cost mortgage. No points, no hidden fees, no loan costs, period. If the mortgage you have right now was done prior to COVID-19, you should call us for a free review. At Mortgage Warehouse, we understand how frustrating it can be to make your mortgage payment month after month, and the loan balance just doesn't seem to go down. The payment is mostly interest, but we can help with that. We can combine near record low mortgage rates with our local no closing cost program to improve your mortgage payment right away. You do not have to roll any closing costs into your loan balance to get these ultra low mortgage rates. You can apply online at mortgagewarehouse.com or call 313-5000. That's 313-5000. mortgagewarehouse.com.
Certain restrictions apply. NMLS ID 137154. Equal housing lender.
After a car accident, you can feel like you've lost control. I'm Mark Anajar from the law offices of Anajar and Levine. After the crash, call the police and document the scene by taking photos of all the vehicles involved. If you are injured, get medical attention as soon as possible. If you've been involved in a car accident, call the law offices of Anajar and Levine at 1-800-747-FREE. That's 1-800-747-3733 for a free consultation. And take back control of your life.
Offices Fort Myers and Naples.
Trey Radel is on 92.5 Fox News.
Phone line's blowing up. 239-479-5592. Let's get to some of your calls. Donna in Lehigh. Hello, Donna. You're on the drive.
Oh, hi. Well, she told me your doctor friend left, but I want to let him know, or you, I went to 2 mass weddings, one in Ohio, one in Georgia, back to back. Within 2 weeks, 125 at one wedding, 180. They are not carriers. We had no mask, no social distancing, danced. Nobody got sick, a sniffle, or nothing, so you can throw that out the window. I am 71 with diabetes. Do not get any shots, shingles, flu, nothing, and I'm proud of our governor because he kept us open. We didn't have the mass death like they did in California or New York, old people in nursing homes, et cetera. And I need someone, either you or the newspapers, to investigate, because Ron started in the summer why we were writing people that had heart attacks, car accidents, gunshots as COVID related. They were not, and that was happening nationwide, but no one seems to be covering it, and hopefully someday you will.
All right, Donna. Yeah, I'm all over it. I've got a whole news team behind me here ready to crank all that out. So I understand we're all going to have our little stories of I went to an event once and I didn't get it. Let me give you a very personal, in fact, if Dr. Cordell's still listening, a personal story that tells the opposite of what Donna was saying. My dad is a funeral director, and he was not seeing what's been reported on about, everything being COVID death. That wasn't on the death certificate. And it was happening a lot in Ohio, where a dad's funeral director, but didn't see it. Now, again, are they out there? Or was the system worked to get more money? I'm certain. Let's keep the calls. Whoa! What in the heck was that? If there's a Robert, is it still going on? I don't want to turn my.
Oh my gosh! Hey, Trey.
Dude, what was that?
I'm so sorry. I've been on hold so long. I kept going with some stuff I was doing. I'm sorry.
What were you doing?
Brother.
Were you doing an autopsy?
I'm experimenting on some root canal stuff.
It sounded like it.
I'm helping somebody try to cut off a nut that is tight onto his washing machine.
All right, dude. All of this has just gone south quickly, and we've only been on the phone for 5 seconds.
The reason I'm calling you, I want to know a couple of things. Did you change the format of the show, or are you still an opinion show?
Yeah, I am still an opinion show, yeah.
Okay, and so we call you because we value and a lot of us look for your opinion. So we look for you to express your opinion and give it to us. But on the case with the doctor, he wants you to zip it. You can't give your opinion. However, I do think, Trey, had you been saying this before the election, I think a lot of people would agree to you because this whole vaccine came from Trump. And he was the I guess there in the beginning, he's the inventor of it. And our Vice President Harris is the one that she had the biggest megaphone on the biggest stage. And she was promoting that she wouldn't take the shot, her and Biden. So for Doc to come down on you like that and say, listen, you can't give your opinion, no, that's the problem. Whenever it's on the other side, the liberal people, the media, they want to silence our conservative voice. That's the bottom line. Trey, a lot of us look up to you, and we look to you for what you have to say.
Okay. Well, I wouldn't oversell me. I don't know. I should be looked up to. Robert, look, I appreciate the kind words. And with respect to what you're saying, yeah, I mean, I'm sure as hell not going to come on here and lie. And part of this show is me sharing my real world experiences, all my ups, my downs, and more, and opinions. And Robert, I thank you for that. By the way, the doctor who called in, I don't want to keep saying his last name too either, because I feel like I'm just like hammering some dude who, again, I grew up with, like in the same neighborhood, and we've known each other since we were. His son and I have known each other since literally we were knee high, younger. He's not liberal. He's, by all accounts, from everything I know, and I've even received comments, emails, and whatnot, very conservative. I understand, though, I'm really trying to be diplomatic here. I know that I can be a real smartass when I do this whole phrase that Ian will finish for me. I'm a conservative.
But.
All right. Well done. Like a friggin' husband-wife here. We do that when we talk about various issues that I am like, it drives me nuts. I try to be conservative on things. Here's one quick example. Callers will get to you. We got just a few minutes here. If you want to call in, this is it, 239-479-5592. And I see at least one on hold. We'll get to you. But here's an example that really angers the hell out of people. This whole concept of at 18 years old, we've had some lawmakers push this concept at 18 years old, you should be forced to go into the military. And it comes from Republicans and Democrats. Republicans say, and usually it's someone who we respect, you served our country. I went to the military and it whipped me into shape. So everybody else should do that? Because what you're saying is that the government is mandating a year of your life, or 2 years in some cases. They're going to take away your freedom. And by the way, some of it is too, they're going to learn how to be patriots. They're going to learn how to appreciate this country, because nothing is quicker than teaching someone how to love their country than stealing a year away of their life to teach them it. Nothing says patriotism and love for this country the way that you learn about it when the government steals a year of your life away.
And nothing says freedom is great like taking that freedom away.
So great. Like, I got to move on because we're very short on time. But this is an argument that we, some of you listening, are very passionate about, and so am I. You should never have the government. And by the way, the creepy version on the left is we need young people, 18 years old, graduate high school, mandatory service in various parts of the country. So you're going to go to South Central Los Angeles, the south side of Chicago, and you're going to learn about diversity. Think about that for a second. And let me tell you, there's no difference between you two. There's no difference between someone on the left saying, I'm going to take a year of your life to teach you about diversity. You're going to go live somewhere in a area that is radically, physically, culturally different from you, and you're going to learn about diversity. All you're doing is substituting out the word diversity for patriotism, or insert free learning about the country. Because on the right, it's we're going to take a year of your life to teach you about patriotism, to teach you how to work, to teach you discipline, whatever it may be. Insert foolish comment. You're both the same. You want to jack somebody's freedom. Now, I say that to come back to the doctor's very conservative, but this is one of those issues where it's, well, I'm a conservative,
but...
And it's just your thing. Look, I get it. It's a human part. There are parts of me where, I'm pretty hardcore libertarian. When it comes to foreign policy, I'm a libertarian.
But
Tim, you got the final word. Got a minute. Go for it, Tim.
Hey there, Troy. Thanks a lot. I'm not obese. I am a high risk. 2020 wasn't bad enough. I lost my company, and then in June 9th, I had a stroke. But I have AFib and I have diabetes, and so I have also have COPD. I was a high-risk individual. I'm 64. I got my second shot today of the Moderna, so I'm vaccinated. I didn't want to be vaccinated. My wife refuses to be vaccinated. But I found out something there, and they set you for 15 minutes to make sure you don't have any shock or anything. And they're talking
That's
to you the whole
comforting.
time.
15 minutes, that should do it.
Anaphylactic shock.
Yeah.
So, so I'm sitting there, and they're lecturing, and they said, be an ambassador for the vaccine, tell people, you took it, and so forth. But they made a very special attention for me to be able to take pictures of my card, my vaccination card, to laminate it if I want to. Don't lose it, because eventually it's going to be in a national database, and you're not going to be able to fly unless you've had the vaccine. I mean, it's kind of like the little star that's on my driver's license, because I used to fly every week. I lost my company because I was a national public platform speaker. I couldn't get a crowd because we had COVID. And so it was a rough 2020 was a bad year. I did not want to take the shots. However, I did not want to get COVID because they said the dying rate would be very, very high because I have these things. And so, I will take a chance on the shot to keep from taking a chance on catching it.
That's exactly right. And you know what? Again, in attempting to be very diplomatic about all of this, one of the things that I also laid out very early was exactly what you just said, Tim, which is I got some friends who got hit hard with COVID-19. Ford O'Connell, a contributor on this show, was hospitalized. If there are some downsides or risks with the vaccine, maybe it's better to take that versus COVID-19 itself. And these are the things that you battle with. And again, I'm skeptical, and that's okay. And it's okay for you to ask questions and be skeptical too. All right, now that we've done this sort of Tony Robbins, like, it's okay, you're okay, look in the mirror. I look good. I feel good. We're back tomorrow. Bye now. Good show, Ed. I had a lot of fun. Good night. Goodbye.
92.5 Fox